Alex, I was cleaning out the bottom of my old hardware bin this morning and I found a pair of safety glasses from about 1994. They were so scratched up, it was like trying to look through a bowl of oatmeal. It made me realize how much of my early career I spent just squinting and hoping for the best.
Well, that explains a lot about your depth perception, Tiger. But seriously, hoping for the best is basically the unofficial motto of every beginner who's too excited to put on their gear.
It's the excitement that gets you. You've got a fresh slab of walnut or a clean sheet of steel, and the last thing you want to do is stop and hunt for your earmuffs. But here's how I look at it now. Every safety rule in this shop is basically a deposit in a bank account. You're saving up so that 30 years from now, you can still hear your grandkids, and you've still got all 10 digits to point at things with.
High stakes! Today, we're diving deep into the stuff that keeps us whole. We're talking PPE, shop layout, and why some of the innocent materials people bring into a shop are actually tiny biological landmines.
Let's start with the face. I've seen guys treat safety glasses like they're an optional suggestion, or worse, they think their regular spectacles are enough. Listen, your prescription lenses are great for reading the fine print on a tape measure, but they won't stop a shard of shattered carbide traveling at Mach 1.
I've seen you wearing a full face shield over your glasses when you're on the lathe. Isn't that a bit Darth Vader for a Tuesday afternoon?
It feels like it, but when you're turning a bowl and a hidden crack decides it's time for that wood to become two separate pieces, you want a riot shield between you and the debris. A face shield isn't a replacement for glasses, though. It's the backup. It's the goalie. The glasses are the defenseman. You need both when the sparks or the chunks start flying.
And the shoes. I once saw a guy walk into a makerspace in flip-flops. I thought the shop manager was going to have a literal heart attack.
That's a fast track to a very short day. It's not just about dropping a hammer on your toes, which hurts enough to make a grown man recite poetry. It's about the stuff on the floor. Metal shavings, or swarf, are basically tiny, jagged, serrated knives. You slide a foot in a sandal across a floor covered in lathe turnings, and you're going to look like you stepped into a blender.
Okay, let's talk about the invisible enemies. Dust. I feel like woodworkers are the worst at this. We love the smell of cedar, so we think, how can something that smells like a spa be bad for me?
That's the trap. Some of the prettiest woods are the most toxic. Take pressure-treated lumber. People see it at the big box store and think it's just outdoor wood. It's actually wood pumped full of copper chromated arsenic. You sand that, you breathe it in, and you're basically inviting a heavy metal band to play a concert in your liver and kidneys. Not the fun kind of concert either.
And it's not just the fancy stuff. I read in the Academy of Art Guide that even concrete and plaster dust are permanent. Once that silica gets in your lungs, it's like pouring wet cement on a shag carpet. It's never coming out.
Exactly. Your lungs are basically filters that don't have a clean cycle. That's why the respirator is the most underrated tool in the drawer. If you're sanding, especially foam or resins, you need a mask that actually seals to your face. If you can smell the material through the mask, you might as well be wearing a lace doily.
Let's move to the machines, the gears and rotors section of our horror story. I noticed you don't wear gloves when you're using the drill press, even when the metal gets hot. I always thought gloves were safety 101.
Gloves are great for moving lumber or handling cold steel. But the second a motor starts spinning, those gloves become a liability. Imagine a drill bit catches a stray thread on a loose work glove. It doesn't just tear the glove, it pulls your hand into the machine before you can even blink. It's the same with long sleeves, jewelry, or that one guy who always has his hoodie strings dangling.
So the golden rule is, if it spins, keep it naked?
That's one way to put it. Keep everything tight to the body, tie the hair back. I knew a guy with a great beard who almost lost a chin because he leaned too close to a lathe. Now he's clean shaven and a lot more careful.
Speaking of spinning things, let's talk about the table saw. It's the heart of most shops, but it's also the machine people are most terrified of.
As they should be. It's a disc of teeth spinning at 3,000 RPM. The biggest mistake people make isn't the blade itself, it's the kickback. If that wood pinches the back of the blade, the saw will launch that board back at you like a professional pitcher. I've seen a piece of 2x4 go through a sheet of plywood like it was paper.
I've noticed you always use a push stick, even for bigger pieces.
If my hand is within 6 inches of that blade, I feel a physical twitch in my soul. A push stick is a sacrificial lamb. I'd much rather the saw eat a piece of scrap pine than my index finger.
What about when things go wrong? Not every mistake is a trip to the ER, but a shop can get dangerous fast. Fires, chemicals.
Oh, the rags of doom. This is a big one. If you're using oil-based finishes like linseed oil or many stains, and you crumple up those rags and toss them in a pile, they can actually catch fire through spontaneous combustion.
Wait, literally spontaneous like magic?
It's chemistry, which is basically grumpy magic. As the oil dries, it generates heat. If the heat is trapped in the middle of a bunched up rag, it gets hotter and hotter until, poof, your shop is an oven. You've got to lay those rags out flat on the rim of a metal trash can or hang them up individually until they're bone dry and stiff.
And chemicals. I saw a note in the Performing Arts safety manual about never dumping stuff down the drain.
Never. Not only is it a crime against the pipes, but you can create some nasty fumes. If you're working with resins or MEK, methyl ethyl ketone, you're dealing with stuff that can give you a sensitizing reaction. That means one day you're fine, and the next day you walk into the room and your throat closes up because your body's had enough.
It sounds like awareness is the real PPE.
That's the secret. The glasses and the masks are just the equipment. The real safety happens between your ears. If you're tired or you've got a one more cut before dinner mentality, just turn the lights out and go inside. Most shop accidents happen in that last 10 minutes when your brain has already left the building.
I noticed you're using a brush instead of the air compressor to clean off the bench. Why not just blow it off? It's much faster.
Faster, sure, but compressed air is a menace. If you blow that air at your skin, you can actually force air bubbles into your bloodstream. It's called an embolism, and it's a one-way ticket to the hospital. Plus, you're just launching all that fine dust and metal slivers back into the air so you can breathe them in for the next hour. A brush is humble, but it keeps the mess where it belongs.
So if we're summarizing this for someone just starting out, someone who just bought their first miter saw or drill, what's the first day checklist?
First, dress for the job. Long pants, closed shoes, no jewelry. Second, buy safety glasses that actually fit so you don't have an excuse to take them off. Third, respect the zone. If a machine is on, that's your entire world. No phones, no podcasts in your ears, no distractions.
No Tiger Den podcast while operating a bandsaw? I'm hurt.
Listen to us while you're sanding by hand or sweeping the floor. But when the carbide is spinning, I want you to hear what the machine is telling you. A tool will usually tell you it's about to fail. It'll change pitch or vibrate differently, long before it actually breaks. If you've got headphones on, you're missing the warning.
That's a great point. Safety isn't just about avoiding a disaster. It's about being in tune with your craft.
Exactly. It's like a dance. If you respect the floor and the partner, you get to keep dancing tomorrow.
Well, I think I'm going to go double check my respirator filters. This has been eye-opening, Tiger. Or, hopefully, eye-protecting.
Just remember, prepare and prevent, don't repair and repent. I didn't invent that saying, but I've certainly lived the long version of it.
Thanks for sharing the hard-won wisdom. To the makers out there, take 5 minutes to clean your glasses and check your fire extinguisher. It's the most important work you'll do all day.
See you in the shop. Keep your fingers clear and your eyes covered.
Bye, everyone.